At this time, I would like to introduce our undergraduate student speaker, Ellie Rich. Ellie is receiving her bachelor's degree in Interdisciplinary Studies. Prior to coming to Naropa, in fact, nearly 8 years ago to this day, Ellie's parents delivered the kind of news that no parent ever wants to convey to their child. Her body carried a rare form of melanoma. It was caught in its earliest stages of development, but after receiving treatment at one of the premier cancer centers in the United States, Ellie felt that something was lacking in the conventional approach. So she sought alternative cancer treatment in Mexico, where quality of life, whole foods, and spiritual healing were emphasized. This began a healing journey for Ellie that has carried her around the world to Buddhist monasteries in Nepal, India, Thailand, and most recently to Brazil, where she studied public health and human rights. Ellie has journeyed to the edges of the world in search of what it means to heal the individual and the collective. She is honored to be here today, and we are happy to have her as our undergraduate student speaker. Ellie?
Wow. Can y'all hear me? Okay. It truly is an honor to be here today in front of millions of people, it feels like, all watching me. I was really nervous, of course, giving this speech. I would actually have dreams about it. And in one of my dreams, I was leading the wave because Naropa doesn't have a sports team. And I was actually talking about this with some of my classmates, and it hit me. I was like, oh my gosh, we should do a contemplative bow wave, because I don't know if there's ever been one done before. So I'm gonna make my dreams come true, and I'm gonna start over here, and as I wave my hand, if you could just bow your head like this, and we're gonna lead this wave. Starting over here. Ready? Oh, this is awesome. This is amazing. All right, come, bring it back, bring it back. Thank you. So, that was awesome. I felt like a wizard. First and foremost, I'd like to extend my heartfelt welcome to all of those who have traveled long distances to be here today. I personally want to welcome my grandparents. All 4 of them are here, all the way from George, West Texas. And I just want to say thank you for coming. And in lieu of Mother's Day, I just want to extend, again, a heartfelt thank you to all the mothers who have loved and nurtured and held our hand when we have so tested the limits of their patience. So thank you, all mothers. I'd like to share with you today how I came to arrive at Naropa, how I'm actually standing here today. I was living in Dharamsala, India when I was 22 years old. And I was sort of hovering in this vague openness of not really knowing what I was doing with my life, not really knowing who I was, and I just wasn't clear, right? Like what I wanted to do. And I was in this monastery, and I was in this library, and this book by Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche, like literally fell into my hands. And it's kind of cliche and a little cheesy, but it's what happened. And as I open this book, these words were written here before me. I'm going to read it to you. It says, "Illness brings us down to earth. It makes things seem more direct and immediate. Disease is a direct message to develop a proper attitude towards mindfulness. It is important not to try to rid yourself of the sickness, but to use it as a message." I need water. Sorry. So, anyways, this quote was so meaningful to me because when I was 18 years old, I was diagnosed with a rare form. Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
That's very kind of you. Whew, okay. So this quote was very meaningful for me because when I was 18 years old, I was diagnosed with a rare form of melanoma. And in the seismic shock waves that naturally stem from any type of cancer diagnosis, or I think any type of sort of failure, right? Like any type of divorce, death, disease, I needed to go deep within myself and be in contact with the parts of me that transcended beyond the pricks and prods of living with cancer. So what I so appreciate about Naropa and this amazing institution is that it not only cultivates the mind, but it cultivates the heart, the human capacity to feel and experience empathy for oneself and for others. It transcends sort of beyond, conceptual theory and prefrontal cortex thinking, which is very important, but I think even more is coming in, going in deep within yourself and really knowing who it is that is living in this life. The root word of education is ducere, which is Latin for to lead or to develop. It insinuates movement from a place of not knowing to knowing. And in my opinion, contemplative education is so invaluable because it facilitates this knowing of oneself. The world needs more humans. The world needs people who are empathetic, who know themselves, and who can, and in knowing themselves, can extend outwards with a little more gentleness and compassion. At Naropa, I learned to go within myself and to deconstruct these identities that I've created, the identity of having cancer, of being a Texan, of, whatever. Like, I went deeper, and it's like mining for gold. And in mining for gold from my ashen cave of illness, I began to embody certain truths that wanted to emerge. And in this awakening, my heart opened. And it spills over into the work I carry out into the world. When I was living in Brazil this past semester, I was studying public health and human rights in a very structured, traditional academic setting. And being the Naropa student that I am, I would always, raise my hands and ask, what does it feel like to have, to be living with this disease? Or, and my professors, they really loved me for that. But before me now are really brave people who have transgressed the perilous domain of fear and who have engaged with utmost faith to trust the beauty and intelligence that are hidden in darkness. So, with that being said, I want to extend my heartfelt gratitude and congratulations to all of y'all who are walking the stage today. Thank you.